So the Honorable Minister for State for Energy and Mineral Development, the representative of the Permanent Secretary, the curator Mkutano, Energy Mkutano 2021, delegates, representatives of stakeholders and actors. My name is Gertrude Rose Gamweda, and we have been in charge of the rapporteuring for this event, for which we thank the Mkutano company for entrusting us with this responsibility. Thank you very much. We do hope that we've been able to capture most of the deliberations that have taken place since morning, as well as those that have taken place in the deal room. And I'm sure that within a few days, the Mkutano company should be able to share a detailed report, as well as a copy of the aid memoir. Now, my responsibility here is to take you through the aid memoir, which is a set of outcomes of a set of recommendations, as well as commitments that have arisen out of the discussion and which have to be acted on by all energy sector actors and stakeholders to make it real in terms of the objectives and purposes of this sector. So quickly, I will read the document for you, and I'll try to catch up with the time, noting that we don't have much of that left. So it states to the delegates at the policy dialogue held at Mestil Hotel, Kampala on 21st September, and convened by the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, with partner support provided by Power Africa, USAID, UNCDF, that co-hosted the project deal room as a project deal room partner, Umeme, Stanbic Bank, Mandulis Energy, Power for All, UGEFA, and the anchor partner NSSF, but curated under Energy Mkutano, are committed to work jointly and in partnership to the objectives of the recommendations of this dialogue. The delegates are mindful of the need to hold a meaningful solution-oriented discussion amongst stakeholders and key partners to explore and identify innovative solutions towards sustainable energy and economic transformation. With that said, the delegates hereby reaffirm that by the theme Sustainable Energy and Economic Development, which ties in nicely with the SDG 7 that speaks to the need for universal access to affordable and clean energy, it is noteworthy that renewable energy has a bearing on the target to promote sustainable industrialization, which is SDG 9, and that this is especially timely for our country, for which a sustainable energy mix is structurally possible, but yet per capita consumption remains in the lower percentile globally. So the next paragraph is about those who were assembled, and I'll beg to skip that bit. We know those who've been part of the discussion, and they shall be uploaded into the document, including all actors from civil society and private sector that has been around. By being assembled, you commit to engage with government on the strategic actions that will be needed to increase access to energy as a key component of the third National Development Plan. The MOU gives a little bit of background about Uganda having pioneered in instituting sector reforms, which we all know, and I will beg that I skip that element because it is detailed in our concept note and brief for the Mkutano. I will go straight to the elaboration of the actual commitments and recommendations. And the first one that is set forward is government commitment for the sector, which are laid out 8 of them. That is renewing the energy policy of 2007, working on the electricity connectivity policy, securing parliamentary approval for Electricity Act 2019, which has been passed by Cabinet, finding other energy sources for sustainable supply and reducing the tariff, which are extremely high, prioritizing construction of transmission lines, connection for regional balance and interconnectivity and tourism sites, supplying power to Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, Kenyan, and Southern Sudan to facilitate exports, and promoting sustainable energy sources. These are the commitments of the ministry under the sector plan of action. But from the dialogue, the stakeholders and delegates today have agreed and recognized and recommended that it is important to address affordability in Vision 2040 so that the target should be tariff computing and not affordability, whose figures should be factual and reinforced in what we refer to a rural person. They should be able to afford the tariffs. On the issue of having energy as a fuel for Uganda's economic growth, it is agreed that there is need to look into local financing opportunities to avoid silo approaches and promote the industry private sector actors to get on board. The need to make a business case for the public to invest in the energy sector has also been underscored, and that means mobilizing all actors and stakeholders to contribute to the process right from planning and idea generation stages. The delegates also commit together to work around strengthening policy, legal and regulatory frameworks for promoting off-grid consumption and ensure that consumer protection remains at the forefront. There is also agreement around the need to optimize tariffs and manage mini-grid tenders to maximize efficiencies in access and consumption of energy. Working with stakeholders, government commits to empower consumers and users to access affordable financing and provide incentives as well as invest in capacity building for energy entrepreneurs. There's also a recognition for the need to increase investments in renewable energy so as to power agriculture and rural livelihoods. There's also been major highlights around the importance of stakeholders to harness meaningful partnerships to tailor energy solutions to energy service companies. And the discussions in the deal room have clearly highlighted the existing appetite for this access and the existing appetite and availability of financiers to grow these partnerships. There is need to build capacity for existing financial service providers like the commercial banks and the microfinance service providers, but also equally put in place vehicles built for purpose. Strong recommendation has been made for access to financing instruments responsive to capital markets to be configured to serve the purpose of the beneficiaries or intended beneficiaries as it is. In addition to the outcomes emerging, it is also recognized that because energy fuels the economy, whether off-grid or on-grid, stakeholders should grow both and deal with the pricing from subsidy to full cost reflection. The dialogue further recognized that obligations rest with the need to address and work on ensuring reliability of the grid through continued investment and maintenance of the grid through various funds with low returns. Given that energy is a cross-cutting issue, it has been recommended that it must be addressed in the parish development model approach for it to influence the economic growth that we seek as a country. And for the case of surplus and deficits along the grid power value chain, this dialogue has taken note of the fact that there is need to promote provision of market data and feasibility studies to encourage increased investments. It has also recognized the importance of ensuring access to energy by the small and medium enterprises through the more conventional ways and for companies to improve on their governance, their operations, as well as structure setups. That there is also need to improve coordination and promote integrated planning across board for all sector actors, ministries, departments, agencies inclusive, as well as transmitters and the distributors. And lastly, this Mukutano agrees to put in place a task force to work on the roadmap and implementation action plan, which will respond to the commitments and recommendations of this aid memoir. And so this document sets the roadmap of action under the convening power of the Ministry of Energy for this Energy Mukutano. The partnering institutions commit to support the ministry in transforming these recommendations into actionable policy reforms. And the signatories to this aid memoir include the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, the representative of UMEME. We shall have private sector foundation on board as key signatories, who will be witnessed by Power Africa USAID, UNCDF, Stanbic Bank, Mandulis Energy, UGEFA, NSSF, and of course, the Mukutano Company. I submit. Thank you very much.